Warning, the following audio transmission will forever change your outlook on society. You will no longer believe the narrative. You are about to wake up and see things for what they really are. News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Everywhere on social media at Jester Dooms. The website, www.jestersvoice.com. Go to the website, leave us an audio message. While you're there, buy yourself an Apocalyptic Apparel t-shirt. Our Easter shirts have dropped. And I know it's after Easter, but it doesn't matter. You get one anyway, you have it for next year. It's fine. They're limited edition. At the end of April, they will be coming down off the website. So if you want to get one, get it now. If you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe to the show. Give me that IRL, that 1 week in real life interaction where you tell a friend, family member, or coworker about the Doom Daily Show. Anyway, I hope everybody had a lovely Easter. Hope you did all the traditional things. Every year, we do an Easter egg hunt for the kids. This is something that I experienced growing up. We would have a big, I don't know, it's not this way anymore. And well, it still might be. I don't know. I don't really communicate with my family. But at the time when I was a kid, we had the largest plot of land out of anybody in the family because we had a little horse ranch, right? And we would do Easter there, and we'd have a big Easter egg hunt on the ranch. And I mean, sometimes you'd find eggs with $20 in them. Like all the aunts and uncles and my parents and everybody, like, they'd go all out. We had this huge Easter egg hunt. And it was a great memory from childhood. So I want to extend that to my kids. So we do the Easter egg hunt. And it's interesting because every year I try to make it like the first year I went crazy. I was a devious Easter bunny. I hid eggs everywhere and the kids just were not finding them, right? There might still be eggs hidden around here somewhere. But so over the years, I've decided, like, make it a little bit easier, put eggs more in plain view. Now, the problem is, my kids are just oblivious or they're colorblind. I don't know what's going on. I feel like the easier I make it, they just walk past them. So I haven't found that happy medium yet of how to hide the eggs so they find them without struggle, but not put them out in the open to where they trip on them to find them. It's, trying to find that balance. Also, we, went and did our, for those of you that don't know, it's pretty apparent, I guess, I'm Irish and Italian that I'd be Catholic, but I'm Catholic. So we went to Catholic Mass yesterday. And the most bizarre thing happened. So the priest that was giving Easter Mass was a Black Nigerian man. Now, I didn't know this before yesterday, but apparently Catholicism is taking over a lot of Africa. I did not know this. So we had a Nigerian priest. Very interesting. Absolutely 100% entertaining. It was fantastic because I come from the Northeast where, the Catholic Church was very strict. Priests never cracked a smile. And this man's like singing and dancing and clapping his hands and smiling. And I'm like, this is so outside the norm. And it's good. Like, it's very refreshing. But I'm in this church full of white people and Spanish people, not knowing how to interpret this guy. Now, what I find really interesting, even for me, is like growing up, in the church that I went to growing up, there was no Spanish people in our church. You're talking like all Irish and Italians. Like, that's what made up my church. All white people, So it's every time I go back to the Catholic Church, there's a nice little surprise. And, church was always growing up was a very, strict thing, be on your best behavior, no nonsense, blah, blah, blah. But every time I go back to the Catholic Church now, it's like a little bit more laid back. The priest is joking. He's smiling. It's more refreshing. And then after yesterday's Mass, I was like, oh, this is great. I'm coming back to see this guy. This was nice. I liked it. So I don't know, I just thought I'd share that tidbit of the weekend with you guys. My voice is a little screwed up. I'm getting over a cough. I went into work. I worked it overnight this past week. And that's why we did some reruns. I lost my voice. I go into work. I work an overnight. Wake up to a call about 3 a.m. Trying to think what happened. So a call about 3 a.m. And we leave to go on that call. We get another call. I don't get back to the station till like 9 a.m. It's time for me to go home. I get off. I got a tickle in my throat. And this tickle gets worse throughout the day. And eventually nighttime comes and I'm a wreck. Like, I've got a sore throat the next day. I've got no voice. Like, well, I started losing my voice that night. Then the next day, like, nothing. My coworkers are very big individuals, like over 300 pounds, and they like to keep the AC in our building at sub-zero temperatures. So they're in t-shirts sweating, and I'm like in a hoodie and a blanket, like freezing because they keep the temperature so low in there. But they also, where I work at does not clean the fucking central cooling system. So the mold that is in that place is horrible. And I'm like 99.9% positive as that's what got me, was the mold in those vents. I had something similar happen to me last time I went in Florida. There was mold in the vents. It started out with like a scratch in the back of my throat, the back of my nose. And now it went from my throat to my nose to my ears. And I've been feeling like garbage. Sunday, I woke up at 4 a.m. feeling like shit because I didn't take any cold medicine to go to sleep. I was like, I'm just going to try to go to sleep. So I go to sleep. I wake up at 4, coughing up chunks of gray shit, like nasty as fuck. I take cold medicine at 4 a.m. It kicks in. I go back to sleep. I wake up at like, I don't know, 9:30. My wife's like, come on, we got to, get up, get moving, go to church. I'm like, all right, let me get some coffee in me, get dressed, we'll go. So we go out, have lunch after that, come back to the house. I go right back to sleep till 6 p.m, wake up and start cooking the lamb. Anyway, we'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, Producer Scooter here. First off, thank you for downloading and participating in the wide world of Jester Doom. Please be sure to check out jestersvoice.com website. Everything you want to know is located on jestersvoice.com. If you're looking for salacious details, it's on jestersvoice.com. Don't forget to share the show with your friends and even with all your enemies. And now, back to the musings of Jester Doom.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Everywhere on social media at Jester Dooms. The website, jestersvoice.com. Go there, buy a t-shirt. All right, so I found an article, and this may just appeal to me and nobody else, but I don't give a shit because guess what? It's my show. If you don't like it, fucking leave. On the Epic Times, facing a threat more deadly than fire by Alan Stein on the Epic Times. Phoenix. The fire outside was not the deadliest threat. 2 Phoenix firefighters lost to cancer, and Phoenix Deputy Fire Chief Jason Miller could not stop it. The threat was invisible, poison slipping through their gear, burrowing into skin and lungs, ticking like hidden explosives until they detonated. Miller still chokes up at the memory, but from loss that came resolve, an idea that would protect hundreds of fire departments across Arizona and beyond. Determined to save 2 more friends and countless other firefighters, he had built a better solution, the Storm Stick. In quotations, the cancer issue in the fire service is complex, Miller told the Epic Times. There are a lot of things we have to get better at. Miller, 51, was already on the front lines of the fight against occupational cancer, first as a member and later as a chairman of the Regional Cancer Prevention and Wellness Team. He has run the numbers, studied the research, and it all points to one harsh truth. Today's fires are deadlier than ever. According to the Firefighter Cancer Support Network, cancer is the most serious threat to firefighter health and safety. From 2002 to 2019, it caused 66% of cancer firefighter line of duty deaths. Based on data from the International Association of Firefighters, in 2016 alone, that number rose to 70%. By comparison, heart disease accounted for 18% of occupational deaths. Nationwide, firefighters are 9% more likely to be diagnosed with cancer and 14% more likely to die from it, according to Cancer Disease Control and Prevention and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. I wonder if their station's keeping up with their vents and their heating and cooling systems. Miller said every blaze carries chemicals that can kill long after flames are out. Cancer lurks in everyday air, dust, and products, he said. PAHs, polylactic aromatic hydrocarbons, from smoke, pesticides, and PFAs, per polyfluoroxy substances. Build up silently. Imported wood brings formaldehyde, while phthalates hide in toys, clothes, and floors. Firefighters face danger head on and sleeping nights only to make it worse. But fast through decontamination can save lives, Miller said. In quotations, this is a really big deal for the fire service exposure to a lot of things, sleep deprivation, and the food we eat, he said. We get bombarded with toxins at fire incidents. I was looking at what the first and most intense point of exposure is and what we are doing about it. One method was brutally simple: a bucket of soapy water and a scrub down and a blast with the hose. Soap, scrub, hose, repeat down the line again and again. It takes about 3 minutes or so to do it that way, Miller said. Then you've got to dump the buckets out because it's dirty and fill it back up again. So what he's essentially talking about is decon. It worked great in the research environment. It just didn't work in the field. What was happening was the people were just kind of hosing people off with water, which is found to be about 20% effective. The Storm Stick system removes 85% of toxins before they can penetrate gear or the skin, he said. Now, so something that I know from learning more about the fire service and taking my classes and working more in the fire service is that the contaminants that you encounter, okay, they off-gas for hours. So if you're fighting a house fire and say this is like the house is made out of vinyl siding, and that off-gas penetrates your turnout gear, that is still off-gassing out of that gear for hours. It just doesn't go away. And then, a lot of firefighters make mistakes. They put these in the trunk of their car. Now they're off-gassing with these in their car, and they're driving down the road with these off-gassing. Or they'll wear their turnout gear back to the fire station, contaminating the inside of the fire truck. Or they'll just, throw them on the rack and, not even take the shower afterwards. So when we talk about, this, decon is a big factor, guys. Like it really, really is. Like you need to. So what I do if I roll to a fire, I've got my gear. It stays in the bed of my truck in a very big tote. Okay, very big, like I can't remember how many. I think it's like 100-gallon tote. All my gear is stuffed down inside there. And that's where my gear lives. If I go to a fire, I pull out that tote, I throw on my gear, bam, rock and roll. After the fire, I throw all the gear in the bed of my truck. I don't put it back in the tote. I just throw it in the bed of my truck. And then as soon as I get home, I lay all that gear out on the bed, on the tonneau cover, so it can just off gas and do its thing. Or dry, if it got a little bit wet, it could dry off in the sun, right? And I am straight to right in the shower as soon as getting back to the house, right? All right, the Storm Stick. The Storm Stick system removes 85% of toxins before they can penetrate gear or the skin, he said. It is a portable system that washes toxic chemicals, soot, and carcinogens off firefighters' gear immediately after the fire. The Storm Stick mounts to the side of the engine and taps into the onboard water supply for fast, on-the-spot decontamination. Firefighters simply step in front of the device, letting the water streams strip away toxins and residue. Think of it as a low-pressure, deep-cleaning power wash. In quotations, I listed all the problems currently that we are just not addressing right or well and patch it up against the science to come up with something that actually does what it's supposed to do, Miller said. I had this slight brainchild. How can we do it better? That's where the Storm Stick began, Miller said, developed from a concept to product with veteran colleagues Greg Gaser and Evan Fowa. Armed with critical data, Miller and his team partnered with engineers, machinists, and industry experts to design and build the Storm Stick system, then put it to the test in some of Arizona's busiest fire companies. Working on the system began in 2017 and finished in about 2019. Miller said the Storm Stick system has been adopted by dozens of fire departments across the United States and Canada. From outside, the system is straightforward, a patented fabricated metal rod, painted red and fitted with 4 nozzles connected to a hose and a set of attachments. A complete unit costs about $2,299. It includes a grab handle bucket with discharge assembly, Storm Stick with an 8-foot hose, a detergent pre-portioning system, 15 detergent activators, and 2 burst fiber brushes. It looks super simple, but there's a lot of complexities to the inner workings of it, Miller said. It was the labor of love. It was really my passion project. It was my way of saying I want to do something. We'll be right back after these messages.
Need a break from reality? Well, sometimes I do too. And the place I go to take that break is the Beans and Weenie Show. You can find the link at linktree.com/BWD crew. The Beans and Weenie Show, where chaos and common sense wage war and you get a front row seat.
Melissa Kowalski is CEO of the 100 Club of Arizona, which provides immediate financial support to Arizona first responders and their families after a line of injuries or deaths. The nonprofit is currently raising funds to provide every fire department and engine in Arizona about 500 with the Storm 6 system. To date, the organization has raised $82,000. We had been supporting the Storm Stick for a couple of years, Kowalski told the Epic Times. We have already purchased about 100 throughout the state, and there are about 350 more that need to be purchased. There have been about 50 that have been purchased from other funding sources. She said today's firefighters face greater challenges with toxic chemicals, demanding advanced training and more complex decontamination techniques. My throat is driving me insane, guys. So bear with me as we fight through this episode. Now we see a lot of plastics. We see a lot of artificial materials, batteries. Just think of electric cars, all of these things that have never been in our environment before, Kowalski said. Exposure to different chemicals and what is thought to be the reason for an increase in cancer in our firefighters. The Glendale Fire Department is one of the most several fire companies of Maricopa County, if I'm saying that correctly, Maricopa County, using the Storm 6 system. On July 1st, 2025, Fire Station 153 opened as a state-of-the-art facility featuring 3 rapid deployment bays, a fire engine, and a medical rescue vehicle. It replaces a 1973 substation funded by a publicly approved $78 million bond after 50 years of service. It is the department's newest fire station, one of 9 in Glendale, a city with more than 248,000 inhabitants and more than 240 fire department personnel. Like Miller, Glendale Fire Captain John Jester has lost colleagues to occupational cancer, each death leaving a lasting mark on the firefighting community. Throughout a long-standing partnership with his union, the Glendale Fire Department has dedicated funding, personnel, and programs to enhance firefighter health and wellness, Jester said. Decontamination zones, high-velocity washers, gear separating bags, and showers help keep firefighters toxin-free. But true wellness goes far beyond that, he said. Where crews once slept in bunk rooms, they now have individual sleeping quarters to maximize rest, recognizing the link between sleep deprivation and cancer risk. A special recovery room offers a cold immersion bath and sauna to decompress, and a fitness room lets firefighters stay active during downtime. Engine 153 carries the Storm Stick systems, a powerful tool to reduce carcinogen exposure, another weapon against cancer, but it is no magic bullet, Jester said. In quotations, there's only so much prevention that we can do, he said. Carcinogens still get in you when you're taking your mask off right after you've washed off and decontaminated. You get your clothes off and you can smell it. And if you can smell it, the risk is there. And that's, I mean, when you get done with a fire, man, you come home, you jump in that shower, you can still smell it after you get out of the shower. Like that shit sticks to you. As a modern facility, Station 153 is spotless, odorless, equipped with advanced decontamination procedures and air quality control systems that disperse engine exhaust. After battling a fire, firefighters are required to follow strict decontamination protocols in 3 separate zones. Basically, we roll into the station, we put gloves on our hands because the skin on our hands is very thin and can absorb carcinogenic material easily, especially soot, Jester said. We take the firefighting turnout gear off the bag, out of the truck, get it out of the bag, and separate it. Firefighter turnout gear has 3 layers, the inner layer for the comfort and heat protection, a middle moisture barrier to block water and chemicals, and a tough outer shell that shields against flames and abrasion. We separate everything, Jester said. Our helmets, they come apart. Hoods, they come out. Our turnout jacket, bunk gear, and turnout pants all have layers. We strip them down and put our gear in the extractor until everything is cleaned. He said the Storm 6 system streamlines decontamination, making it faster, easier, and more efficient. It just attaches to the truck super easy, Jester said. It plugs right in. When the firefighters come out, they open up a valve and it is ready and is part of a system decontamination. And Miller said creating the Storm 6 from first sketch to finished product has been humbling, a way to channel grief into something meaningful and positive. I believe in what we were doing. The system works, Miller said, but it was never about building a business. Ironically, the guys who joined me are the very ones I built to protect. So there you go. the storm stick guys, not, it was just an article I found interesting. We are not in any way or shape or form getting paid to promote this or anything like that. I just thought it was a good, interesting article. And with me getting more involved in the fire service, I just wanted to read that article and go through the whole thing, because we talk about the shit in classes all the time, the risks that you take doing the job. Anyway, guys, I am going to actually cut this episode a little bit short today, just because I am fighting this throat. I'm fighting this. I'm hoping that tomorrow morning I'll be a little bit more chipper and I can give you guys a little bit longer of an episode. But I appreciated everybody that came in to today's show. And if you haven't already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much for being here, and come back tomorrow for another exciting episode of the Doom Daily Show. Producer Scooter, sir, if you would, hit that button.
News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.